Hey guys, it's Jan Sharte and I'm back again with another video. So today's video is going to be a bit different. I am going to be talking to you about how I published my first 3 books. So if anybody is interested in obtaining another stream of income, writing a book is a pretty good one and it doesn't cost a ton. So if you are interested, stay tuned. All right, so my first book was published in 2018. It was right after I started this channel actually, and this was my first book. So it's a very not long book at all. There are, 47 pages total in this book. And this book made me, I don't even know how much money at this point. Again, I published it in 2018, and this was actually what I started making money from first before I started my YouTube channel, and ultimately helped me to launch my very first business. So I used the money that I made from this book and started my very first business, which was my boutique. So all 3 of my books were actually published through Amazon. So if you did not know, Amazon has a publishing program that is completely free for you to use. All you have to pay for is the printing cost. Yes, the printing cost. And the printing cost is based on the number of pages in your book, and it's also based off of whether or not you choose to have a glossy cover or if you choose to have a matte cover. So this is actually a revised version of this book. I'm going to have to look around this office and see if I can find the first copy of this book so I can show you guys what it looked like originally. But all of my books all have a glossy cover, which I want to show you guys up close. And as you can see, they are different sizes. So my 2 newest books, which are the shorter ones, these both were published in the last month. And both of these have a lot more pages than my initial one did. So this book has, I believe, 131 pages, and the other has 190 pages in it. So the comparison of the number of pages as well as the printing the price is not that much different. So I'm actually going to put the cost up here for each of the books so that you guys can see how much it cost me to print these books. And as you can see, it's not a ton. So whenever I publish a book through Amazon, I usually purchase what's called author copies from Amazon, and the only thing that I have to pay is the printing cost. So for example, if this book cost me $2 and I bought 10 of them, it cost me $20 for me to get 10 copies of this book. So it's not a lot. And then so once you pay that $2 to print it, and you have to pay the shipping cost. But once I pay the $2 to print it, then I can sell it for however much I want on my own website, which is the cool part about it. So I want to get into how I went about first writing my books and then getting them published. So I'm going to take you guys through the steps that I took to be able to write my books and get them published very quickly. All right, so my first step was to choose a topic that I was knowledgeable about. So as you guys know from watching all these videos and everything, the thing that I'm most knowledgeable about is owning a boutique, or, fashion or retail, things of that nature. So it only made sense for me to make my very first book about starting a boutique. So again, my very first book was this one, which is called Boutique Business, or an Introduction to Boutique Business. So again, this book was only 47 pages long, and it took me a day. So I wrote it in a day. Again, it's only 47 pages. It took me a day to write it. Then I spent the second day editing it, and by the 3rd day I published it on Amazon. So it was a total process of 3 days. So the first thing that I want you guys to do is take a moment to think about a topic that you are most knowledgeable about. That's going to make it the easiest for you to be able to get this book written and then get it published quickly, rather than choosing a topic that you're not very knowledgeable about and then trying to write it. It's going to be quite the task. So that was my first book. And then my second boutique related book is this one, which is How to Launch a Boutique from A to Z. So the first book was pretty much more of a synopsis of what it takes to launch a boutique. And it gives you basically an overall view or a summary view of the major points or steps that it takes to launch. This book is a lot longer than the first one. and it gives you a step-by-step guide of how to launch a boutique. So this one set the tone, and then this one brings it all the way back around. So I started with a shorter version book because essentially I just wanted to use this one to set the tone and to create some additional credibility as I was progressing into wanting to start a coaching business. So it sounds a lot more fancy when you're like, I am a self-published author of the book Boutique Business, which walks you through how to launch a boutique or whatever the case may be. So I don't want you guys to think that your first book needs to be extremely long, although it can be as long as you would like it to be. I recommend that it be on the shorter side because at the end of the day, you just need to be able to set the tone for something else that's going to come. But again, it doesn't have to be short, so don't feel like that's what I'm telling you. All right, so after you choose something that you're knowledgeable about, I want you to take some time to outline what you know about that specific thing. So this is actually also what I do with my boutique related videos. So obviously I am knowledgeable about owning a boutique, but there are so many other factors that go into, or so many individual factors that go into owning a boutique. So once I decided what topic I wanted to write about, I broke it down into individual little mini points. So there's pricing, there is, merchandise planning and buying, there is inventory management, there are various places that you can go to buy this merchandise, so many different things. So basically, once you've chosen what your topic is going to be, I want you to write out a list of mini topics that relate to the bigger topic. So if you choose to, I don't know, you're going to write a book about science, think about the different forms of science. That was a terrible example because I don't know anything about science. But basically, you're going to pick one larger topic and you're going to break it down into mini topics. And these mini topics are going to become potential chapters. So once you've chosen your mini topics, think about whether or not you think you could write an entire chapter about whatever mini topic you've chosen. So if you decide that it is chapter worthy, then it becomes a chapter. So after you have chosen your mini topics, then you're going to start writing. So this is the part that gets a lot of people hung up, and it's usually because they're trying to write it perfectly the first time around. That's not what we're doing here. We are going to write this book from the top of our brains, and I'm telling you to do it this way because it's the easiest way to get it done fast. Not saying that it's going to be not perfect when it's done, but to get it done, we're not going to focus on making it perfect the first go round. So open your computer, or if you prefer to write, physically, get a pen and paper or pencil and paper and write it from the top of your brain. So take it step by step, mini topic by mini topic, and write from the top of your brain. Write whatever you feel like you can think of that is in relation to that topic. So after you have taken the time to write out whatever you have to say about each of those mini topics, now you're going to go back and read it to make sure that it makes sense. You want to make sure that it makes sense. You want to make sure you use, the proper phrases or the proper spelling, that it flows like an actual book versus it being kind of like, choppy, or that you're talking to somebody. You want it to make sense. Point blank, period. So now's the time for you to go back and proofread it and make sure that it actually reads like a book. More so, you want to make sure that it is something that someone would actually care to sit down and read. So as you're reading it, ask yourself, is this read worthy? If you deem it not to be read worthy, then maybe you need to revisit how you've written it. Maybe there's some formatting issues or something along those lines. Who knows? But this now is the time to go back and proofread and to make sure that it makes sense and that you would actually put this in your book. You may decide that some of your chapters are too long or too short. Maybe you need to break up a chapter, or maybe you need to conjoin. Is conjoin a word? I don't know. Put two chapters together. Who knows? But this is now the time to go back and fix some things. And basically, you're going to take some time to pull it all together and make sure that it flows like a book. So what's my next step? After you have proofread it, now's the time to upload it into Amazon's publishing program. So I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys so you guys can see me actually walk you through the process of, formatting your book so that it is the right sizes and everything for Amazon, and then also uploading it into Amazon's printing program. And I'll show you guys what that all looks like. So let's head on over to this good old computer over here. Woo. Alrighty, so the screen that we're currently looking at is the Kindle Direct Publishing screen. So this is where your book will be published, and this is where all of the books that you publish will live. So as you can see, all the books that I currently have in stock are listed on this website, and it'll say live. And it'll also tell you the versions that you have. So notice for the boutique business book, I have a Kindle ebook as well as paperback, but the other two, I only have paperback versions. This is also where you will come when you want to order your author copies. So remember when I stated that you can purchase your books and you only have to pay the shipping cost, this is where you would come when you want to purchase those books. So you would not purchase them from the Amazon website. You would need to come into your KDP account in order to do that. So before we get into the process for publishing the book, we're going to talk a little bit about how I edit the book. So I tend to type my books up inside of a Google Doc. You can also use Microsoft Word. It's the exact same thing, set up the exact same way. So one of the first things that I personally like to do is to set my pages up so that they are already in the size that I want my book to be printed in. So in order to do that, I go to File and then scroll down to Page Setup. So the paper size that I choose is this A5, which is 5.83 by 8.27, and I usually leave the margins at 1, and I leave the orientation in portrait, and I never change the page color. I just leave it as white. So once you've chosen, oh, and there are other sizes to choose from. This is the one that I use. So this is the size of my last two books. So once you've chosen your page size, you want to remember this number because it's going to come in handy when you get to the publishing page, because it's going to ask you what size you want your book to be printed in. So once I've chosen that, go ahead and click OK, and it's going to change the size of your pages. So currently, this is the size of the pages that are inside my book. So once I get here, I start to write out my book. So the table of contents that you see here, you don't have to do this yourself. So all you have to do is, when you are writing your books, you want to make sure that you give each page a heading whenever you're wanting to start a chapter. So in order to do that, it will be up here in your menu where it says heading 1. So you would just choose the type of heading that you want to be reflected there, and it would automatically translate that over here to a table of contents. So super easy. You don't have to add or manually add the table of contents. As long as you select that you want a heading to live at the top of a page, it will automatically realize that that is a chapter. You can also delete something from a chapter at the end. So say, you gave something a subheading or a heading, but you didn't want it to be a chapter, you can just delete it from the table of contents at the end. Another thing that you want to make sure that you do is add page numbers. That lives in insert, and you do have to add the table of contents on a blank page. So if I go to the bottom down here, I don't know if it's going to work since I already have a table of contents. So I'm just going to insert a page break, and we're going to select table of contents. Does it put it there? Yeah. So as you can see, it added another table of contents, but the one that I selected was the one that does not have the numbers. So if you want the table of contents that has numbers, you would need to select the other one. So if I take that away, table of contents, numbers, as you can see, it will include the numbers. So this stuff down here is literally this last page of my book, which obviously I didn't want to be listed as chapters. So you would just delete that information from your table of contents if you didn't want it to be included there. So as I mentioned in the previous video or part of this video, I literally just go through here and I type up my entire book from the top of my head, and then I come back in and edit it. I make sure that it flows, make sure that it makes sense. I add my page numbers, make sure my table of contents is correct. You want to make sure that your page numbers align with the page numbers that are listed in your table of contents, because you don't want your people to be completely confused about where they are in the book or where certain information lives. Another thing that I want to mention is these random blank pages that I include in between like the title page and stuff. So if you've ever noticed inside of a book that you may have bought, there's usually like random blank pages. So I made sure that I put these blank pages in place so that my book would flow just as if, you know, any other book that someone would purchase. So just make sure that you pay attention to the formatting and everything when you are ready to publish your book. So after I've done that, then I save this as a file. I always save it as a PDF, as well as, I forget what the other one is, PDF and EPUB, I believe, is the other option that I save it as. And then once I've done that, then I go over to the KDP website and I upload. So now I'm going to take you guys over there and I'll show you how to upload your book and prepare it for publishing. Alrighty, so the first step that you need to take is to choose the format that you are going to be creating your book in. So paperback and Kindle ebook are your two options. I recommend that you read up on both of them to decide which one you think, or if both of them would be the best option for you, and also look into, you know, what the requirements for the two of them are. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the paperback option, because that is the one that you guys most asked me about. As you can see, I had to sign in with my Amazon account, so you do need to have an Amazon account in order to publish your book. So on the very first page, this is where you will input your book title. If there's a subtitle, you will put that there. If it's part of a series, you want to put the series name, blah, blah, blah. Put your author name, so your name. If you go by another name, put that there. This is where you want to put the description of your book. So this is the description that will show up on the sales page when a person like clicks on your book on Amazon. This is the description that they would see. Then you want to make sure that you put whether or not you own the copyrights to this information. And then you want to put 7 keywords that would describe your book. So for example, my books are about boutiques. So I would put like boutiques, e-commerce, retail, fashion, things of that nature. Then you're going to choose your categories. So these are some of the categories that they have: nonfiction, fiction, juvenile fiction, blah, blah, blah. You would go through that. The next step is to choose whether or not this has appropriate information for children under the ages of 18. Obviously, you want to be honest about that. And then once you've done that, then you will push save and continue. So it's not going to let me go to the next page because I didn't input any information. So I am going to go into one of my books and show you what it looks like, because it's going to be exactly the same. So we're going to do edit, print book content. All right, so this will be the next page that you will be taken to after you have input your book details. So if you have an ISBN, this is where you will put it. Otherwise, you can get a free one assigned to your book from Amazon. So I always just use the free one assigned to me by Amazon. Then you want to put your publication date. So if it's today, you put today, or if it's a future date, put the future date. Next, you want to choose what your paper options are going to be, your trim size, bleed settings, things of that nature. I always look up what this means, and every single time I forget exactly what it means, but I always just put no bleed. This is where you choose how you want your cover to be finished, so whether matte or glossy. So as you guys know, my book is a glossy cover. And then this is where you would choose your size. So this is my first book. Remember, this one is bigger than the others. So this book is 6x9. But if you wanted your book to be a different size, you would click select a different size. And then that is where you will input the size that you want your book to be printed in. So remember this step. Whatever size that you put in your document in Word or on the Google Doc, this is the size that you would want to put here. So after you've done that, the next step is to upload your paperback manuscript. So as you can see, it tells you the types of formats that you can load your book in. There's the doc, the docx, HTML, RTF. So I usually just do the doc. So remember, I just download it as a doc or a PDF. Oh, I don't think I said that. So I download as a doc and a PDF. Those are the two that I usually download mine in. So go ahead and upload your manuscript here. Once it's been uploaded, it might take a little time for it to upload depending on the length of your book. And then once it is completely uploaded, it will say uploaded successfully. The next step is to input your book cover. So Amazon does have a cover creator that you can use, or you can upload a cover you have already made. So this step, if you upload it, I want to say it's a bit different because you have to have both sides of your book uploaded if you do it that way, versus if you do the cover creator, then it gives you the option to basically upload your graphic on one side and then your other details on the opposite side. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on it so you guys can see what that looks like. Hopefully it comes up pretty fast. Okay. Yes. So over here, this is a image or a cover that I created in Canva. Canva has tons of templates for you to use, completely free. You can add your pictures, add your words, whatever. And then over here is the back of my book. It gives you the option to upload a picture if you would like. Super easy. You don't have to worry about the barcode. They're going to automatically generate one for you. And then once you have finished and it looks how you would like it to look, you can go ahead and push save. You will obviously want to preview it first, and then that's it. So I'm just going to get out of here. All right, so once you've done all of that, the next step is to choose your pricing. So we're going to go ahead and push save and continue and move on over to the next page. All right, so next you want to choose where you want your book to be made available. So mine is currently available in all territories. Next, you choose your primary marketplace, which is probably going to be Amazon.com, but as you can see, it gives you tons of other options. So there's Amazon.co.uk, France, all the other places that Amazon's available. Then you put your list price. So this is the price that you will be selling it for on Amazon. So it tells you what your minimum is and what your maximum is. And then over here are your rates. So the printing cost, as you can see, it cost me $2.15 to print this book. When you sell a book through Amazon, Amazon does take a percentage of your sales. So it's telling you what your royalties will be. So if you sell your book on Amazon, you will make 60% of that money. So $6.24 would be what my royalty is, and the rest of it would go to Amazon. So out of that $13.99, I would make $6.24. The rest would go to Amazon. Minus the printing. So there's $2.15 that gets charged for the printing. You would make $6.24, and then the remaining would go to Amazon. The other price that you see down here is for the other marketplaces. So if your book is available on any other marketplaces or is sold on any other marketplace, you would make $3.45. The printing cost is still $2.15, and 40% of that would go to Amazon. Let me make sure I said that right. Your estimated royalty is calculated by deducting the printing cost of your book from your gross royalty, 60% of list price. Yes, so 60% is what you would make, and for the other marketplaces, it would be 40%. Oh my gosh, I lied. Okay, so it's 60%. I don't know what the expanded distribution is, but whatever that is, that's what the 40% rate is. All right, so that's literally the easiest part, the choosing your pricing. So you obviously, as you can see, you could choose whatever price you want between whatever prices it tells you here. And after that, you literally click publish your paperback book, and then it will be sent to Amazon to get approved. It might take up to 72 hours for it to be approved. Once it is approved, they will send you an email that tells you whether or not it's been approved or if it has not been approved, and then your book will be made live on Amazon. So that is literally it. The steps are exactly the same for creating an ebook, only you don't have to choose paperback. You would choose the ebook option, and you don't choose like, you know, the matte finish or the glossy finish or anything like that, because it's all going to be digital. So that's literally it, guys. And then so once you have your book created, your book will live on your bookshelf, your digital bookshelf here. You will go into reports to see how your book is selling. So to tell you like how many books you've sold. Yeah. So it's super cool, super easy. And that's all I got. I mean, this wasn't, you know, anything fancy, but again, writing a book is a amazing way to, you know, sell or make a little bit of extra money on the side, and it's super easy, very affordable, and I would recommend it to anybody who has some information that they want to share. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.